Early in the morning, Fujiko had gone to see Tolly Hale and report back on what she had learned from the Chinese martial arts master during her last trip.
Jimmy Calorie? Dorna. Duminoff?
The techniques were strange, but Tolly was oddly excited about them and paid Fujiko a good bit of money for her trouble. Meanwhile, Eli was heading to the stadium to share the results of the new training program the coaches had asked him to participate in. Although not normally a helpful person, it had given him a chance to keep an eye on the local muscle and scout potential hires for the gang. Speaking of which, Gaz had discreetly posted a few listings looking for hired help around the island, and while she was out, Fujiko decided to visit one of their responses.
Krish.
Alfred Wadsworth was a tidy, soft-spoken man who was having trouble finding work in a domestic line. The two had a talk about employment opportunities. Gaz, on the other hand, had gone to visit the Kahales and continue his conversation with Kai. He wasn't home, but Alana was there to talk. Apparently, things hadn't been going well for her against the forces of good, and she had lost her status as a supervillain, which she wasn't happy about. Gaz saw an opportunity and decided to let her in on some of the things he was planning for the future of the organization. While the others were away, Eli had building continue for the final expansion of the main house. After that, all that would be left was a garage and some major landscaping. When Kai finally got home that evening, Gaz was able to discuss his construction and investment ideas in more detail. Because of the restrictions put in place by the tribal authority, it was something he would need the backing of Town Hall for. The next day, Fujiko invited Wadsworth over to check out the house and discuss his employment. She mentioned there might be the occasional excitement with the law, but he didn't seem too concerned about it. He felt he'd had far less scrupulous employers in the past already. This was a live-in position, and when Fujiko asked if he wanted the job, Wadsworth was ready to pack his bags. That night, word had come back to the gang that things were in place for Gaz's pet project. He would just need to grease the bureaucratic wheels a little first. Loaded with gifts, Gaz had a very productive lunch with the mayor. Meanwhile, Fujiko was out meeting another job inquirer. Pearl Lua was an island native and a bit of a green thumb. She had worked as a groundskeeper for local resort businesses, but the crime wave taking over the island had led to layoffs to cover losses. The two got to talking. That afternoon, Gaz met Kai Kahale in a familiar part of the island. There was a lot of empty land out here that he had been eyeing for development, and now he told Kai his idea about building a casino. It was a nice, out-of-the-way location and wouldn't blemish the rest of the resort, and would be a boost to tourism and the island's economy. Not only that, he argued, but the jobs and money it would provide would likely help the administration's image, and Kai was more than eager to gain new voters. He agreed to start the paperwork immediately, and Gaz couldn't wait to take his cut. The next day, Fujiko invited Pearl to hang out at the hotspot and talk some more. By that evening, Pearl was convinced that working for Gaz sounded pretty good, and when they went back to the house, Fujiko got her to move in. With the place so full, the living situation would soon need sorting out. A few days later, Gaz's latest efforts at manipulating Town Hall were rewarded in the form of a big promotion. As a sidekick, he would now sit in with the council and help inform their decisions. The organization was also excited about the news of the casino development, but Gaz had no intention of sharing his plan's success. The next night, Fujiko did one better, and was at last recognized as a master thief. Not only did she now lead the Department of Thievery, but she would be the de facto head of the council as well. The control she wielded would ensure that everything was in place when the big score went off.